thank you. Let's get started. I have a bunch of chairs in the front, so a couple people that would like to sit, please come. I won't spit at you. So thank you very much for coming to the town hall. My goal is to make these town halls informative, effective, and brief. So we're doing a couple new things, and we're basing it a lot on what we've heard for all employee survey from you for one element, and we'll get to that. But we are doing something new and innovative, and that's what you saw coming around here. We are trying to videotape this, so staff members that are on vacation, are on other shifts, can pull it up and watch it when they want to. Or if you want to see it again at some other time, or you want to show a snippet of it at a staff meeting. Or if I do something really ridiculous up here and you want to show it over and over again, just relax. So we're experimenting with that. We'll cross our fingers and hope that works. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to try to publish some form of an agenda. It's just a loose agenda, just so that people know, hey, that's an interesting topic, I want to go see that. So this is what we're going to talk about today. The first thing we're going to talk about is all employee survey. We're going to talk a little bit about how our goals align. I think sometimes that's really like a mystery, and it shouldn't be a mystery, from big VA all the way down to what you do at your Gemba boards. We're always going to have a high reliability topic on every agenda, just to keep things in front of us as to where we are, where we're going. Then we're going to talk about facility updates. Parking's the hot topic. I get an email about it every day from somebody, so we're going to talk about that. Community engagement updates, and then just anything you want to talk about. So first slide, all employee survey and best place to work. So a couple of things you will have seen come out in emails is that your work groups should all be working on action plans right now. You should have seen some data, talking about it in your work groups, and working on your own work group action plans, because those are due essentially by the end of the year. The next thing that I want to let you know is you should have seen some emails asking you to take a little, like a point in time survey. It's about 3 questions. It is less than 30 seconds. And it's just a pulse check on how well we're doing as a place that people choose to work. So I would like you to give yourselves a little round of applause. You were the best all employee survey scores in the nation, so you should be proud of that. I am very proud to join an organization that has the best all employee survey scores in the entire nation. That doesn't mean that we all have places that we can improve, and we're going to work on improving those and keep making it better and better. But take a couple of seconds and just be pleased at the place that that's just a reflection on the place that you work at. So the third thing I want to share with you is that as an organization, I also owe you organizational action plans for the all employee survey. So it's not just work groups that need to have, this should have some action plans to make their work environment better. I owe you, as the director, an organizational action plans. And of course, these action plans are never going to get everything. But what we did was, first of all, there are 3 themes that your scores, like the data, the objective data, says is important to you. And it's communication, it's accountability, and it's growth. So we put that aside and we said, okay, those 3 things by scores, by the numerical values, were the most important things according to our facility. Then I sat and read 300, is Andrea, no, Andrea's not here today. Andrea and I read 328 comments, all the raw comments, every single one, and put them into buckets. because those are really important. And they actually, what they do is they put the details to the numbers. And when we put them all into buckets and said, which are the most important themes, you know what they were? The exact same ones. So in the lobby and in your emails, you should have seen these 3 things, but I'll go through each one. And there are these comments, these little bubbles, really came out of somebody in this organization. But we picked 3 or 4 of the comments that were pretty much said over and over and over and over again, just in different ways, a couple of different word choices, but essentially said the exact same things. So the first one's accountability. Hold staff accountable to the same rules. Our department leadership exhibits a sets of complacency when dealing with questionable practice performance and behaviors. I do think accountability should be a facility goal. So these are unfiltered. This actually came out of someone's survey. So we, as an organization, sat around executive leadership and said, what are some of a couple of big ticket items that we can say for sure these were things we're going to do. There might be others that get to this as well, and when we do those things throughout the year, we'll point that out to that fits in here also. But so far, 2 things, and we just had one of them. Every other month, we're going to have a supervisory forum. And in that supervisory forum, every supervisor sits for an entire day and they get some education, some learning, and then we walk out with this general agreement of what we're going to be accountable to behaving like as supervisors to make this a good organization. Similar accountability, like for instance, somebody, I'm totally making this up, but one supervisor should not be marking somebody AWOL for being 3 minutes late, and the other one letting somebody come in 15 minutes late and not saying something. I'm totally making this up, but that's just an example of whatever, we should have some standard expectations that we behave in a general way, because that shapes the entire culture of the facility. So that's what those supervisory forums are. And I think the first one was great, and we walked away with a lot of information and tools in our tool belts. And the next one is we are focusing on servant leader skill building especially at that supervisory level. But remember, leaders aren't just by title. Leaders are also informal as well. And so we're working on just that servant leader skill building, the whole I wouldn't ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself mentality. Working alongside instead of having someone work for you. So we started some of those educational components too, and those will continue to roll out. So we are making a commitment, mostly at the supervisory level, that we're holding each other accountable, and we're going to learn some things to have some standardization in how we move forward in that. So that's accountability. The next one is communication. You can never over communicate. So these are some bullets for communication. Communication between supervisors and employees needs improvement. Specific information about plans. Doesn't get down to my work group. I wish I had specific information about development programs. So the first one is we're in the process of building a site where everything is located. Every town hall, all these videos, there's going to be a tab for all the scoop messages. There's going to be a tab for all those daily messages, and then the bi-weekly bulletins. And we're doing that so that, number one, you can have the freedom to push delete when it comes into your mailbox if that's what you want to do, because you just don't have time to read it right now. But you have the ability to go back and read something when you're ready, at your leisure. We don't have leisure, but when you have time. I don't live in fantasy land. I know we don't have leisure in our day, but that was something that was asked for, that there was a place to go for communication, that you knew you wouldn't lose it, but it doesn't clog up your emails. So the emails will probably still go out, but you can feel free to delete because there'll be a central site that you can go to. The next one is, and part of that is exactly what we're doing here, videotaping these town halls. Fingers crossed it works, but I was always a night shift ER nurse. I liked the night shift, but that means that you don't get to come to most of these things, so I'm sensitive to that. And then creating a central Dropbox for staff meetings. This is a way that we all of us that hold staff meetings have some common information that we all put out at the same time. So November's staff meeting, one example is Mr. Ritter at the beginning of every month puts out the customer service message of the month. So this month, does anybody remember what November is? Smile with your eyes too, right? And so that will be in there as one of those. That's something to do in a staff meeting. So, and then the third one, professional growth and retention. Those are the comments. So one thing we're doing is every time a position comes up, we ask the question, can this be a career ladder position? Because it allows people to stay in a role longer. It allows us to select talent at a lower GS level. So those real highly motivated, really talented people at lower GS levels, they have the ability to grow up that career ladder position as well a little bit quicker. That's one way to grow people. And then the other one specifically to this, remember all these probably all have more, but these are the things that we're committing to right now that we heard over and over again. Nursing proficiencies, proficiency writing is really, really hard. It is a really, really hard exercise in creative writing. And I can say that because I'm a nurse. I lived through that. But if you don't know, there can be a big difference in how your promotion if you choose the word happy instead of glad. There is some specific language that needs to be used, and specific places to use that. Since such a large portion of our workforce is nursing, that is a second, and it was asked for in the comments. It was one of my biggest comments was all about boards, and really it happens at the proficiency writing more than at the boards, but there is board training going on as well. So those are the things that we're committing to as facility actions. I think the biggest thing to look at are the 3 topics, because we will have more things that we do that fall into those topics. But as you all know, when you create action plans at the beginning of the year, you want to create some action plans that you know are going to be doable, that are going to make a big impact. So these are the things that we're committing to this year. And we're well on our way. Any questions about that? No? Next topic? Alignment of goals from VA to Gemba. So, go ahead. So I threw this up here because this is one of my big goals this year, is to demystify the whole what's important from big VA all the way down to how does that get to the projects and the things that you work on at your individual Gemba boards. So let me just walk you through this. And my intention is something that looks similar to this. It might look better than this once somebody who's really better at PowerPoint gets a hold of it. Is at your Gemba board, so you can say, where does this project kind of nest? Is it important, or how are we fitting in with what's important in the facility? So first of all, big VA. So Secretary Wilkie has 4 priorities. These are his 4 priorities: customer service, Mission Act, electronic health record, transforming business processes and systems. So those are his big priorities as the Secretary of the VA. We've gone the longest time in years with the same priorities. Usually they change, like you change your socks, but we've had one secretary for a while, and he's stayed true to his priorities. Under him, for VHA, we have an executive in charge because we don't have an undersecretary named, and that's Dr. Richard Stone. Dr. Stone's priorities are being the provider and care coordinator of choice, integrated whole health care, efficient use of resources, and innovate as a teaching and learning organization. Those are his main priorities. So Truman's got a strategic plan. How many of you have seen the strategic plan? Good, that's a pretty good number. Excellent. So what I did was I just aligned where our strategic plan, kind of what the topics are, where that fits. And our strategic plan lives 3-ish years. So the 3, and this was written just over 3 years ago, as we discovered. So we might tweak this in the upcoming, this FY20. But as it stands right now, where people want to work, patient-centered care, timeliness, equity, efficiency, and a learning organization. Those are the main priorities in Truman's strategic goal, or strategic plan. Mission control, have you ever come up to our office and seen that big, messy mission control board? The purpose of that is to say, what are we going to do this year, FY20, to help achieve our strategic plan? That's what mission control is for. So it aligns pretty closely. Best place to work, patient experience, access, business excellence, innovation and modernization. Which one am I missing up there?
Zero harm.
Zero harm. Oh my goodness. Like the most important one. I will fix my slide. But zero harm is our 6th one. So we've got 6 plans going. And they align right underneath each one. So you can see how we do nest. Because Truman Hospital can't be an organization that's got goals that are a 180 from what the VA says is our priorities. That just wouldn't fit well. So I just do this to share with you how we align our goals and the fact that we are part of a larger organization. So that does somewhat drive our direction as well. Any questions on that? This was just purely like informational. Yes?
Where would zero harm plug in?
Well, I think that zero harm plugs in under a couple of things, but certainly I'd plug it in somewhere around patient-centeredness and then efficiency as well. We plugged it in really nicely upstairs on the mission control board, and I just have to go back and look at that because it's not on my board, and I apologize. But I'll fix that for sure. And then that will be by your Gemba boards, just as a reference. Doesn't have to hang up on your Gemba board, but near there in case you ever want to say, what is this project, if you're deciding if it's important or if it's going to go parking lot for a while, does this fit with a goal of our organization right now? That's what it's for. Next slide. So we have done a maturity assessment just to see where we are on our long goal toward being a fully, highly reliable organization, or being more highly reliable in the delivery of our health care. And we are going to ask Johnny to present his information. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. All right, I was told I have 5 minutes to talk about this massive topic, so I'm going to throw a huge... Yeah. This is a huge topic that I certainly don't have 5 minutes to get into details, so I'll give you the high level, and like Dr. Hall's been talking about, you'll hear more and more elements as we go on throughout the year, so if you want to go. So what this is in terms of high reliability is a couple years ago, the VA, big VA, asked Vision 15, the systems redesign community at all us hospitals in Vision 15, to fill out this, what they call an organizational assessment of how mature you are on, they didn't call it high reliability at the time, right? But it was kind of based in research. What are key elements that a organization who is functioning very highly or highly reliable, has a very high reliable predictable outcomes, what things are in place? And this is very based in kind of Baldrige type things, if you're familiar with that, some other indicators within the business world. So that was back April 2017, and kind of the gist. And so we had ELT and management fill this out, we had frontline fill this out, and then we had us in systems redesign fill us out. And so what was really interesting is ELT and management said everything's great, 5 out of 5. Everything's pie in the sky. Frontline is kind of like the, okay, middle of the road. Then obviously us in systems redesign, the world's falling, everyone needs to improve, right? 1 out of 5. So when we got that back, we're like, man, something's not right here if there's such misalignment. So we had a key meeting to talk about how do we shore that up. And so what this assessment looks at is kind of 4 different areas. I'm going to go into what these mean. One is strategic plan alignment, which Dr. Hall just talked about. There's organizational culture. How do you have a culture that breathes this stuff? Innovation improvement, and then informed decision making. I'll talk about what that means. And so I know you guys are probably sick of hearing reliability, right? That you're probably going to sleep with that word in your head as much as we talk about it. But I like to throw up the definition here of what reliability means. And it means the quality of being trustworthy or of performing consistently well. Okay, so that doesn't just mean safety. That means, kind of like we talked about, efficiency is something that you can perform consistently well. Quality, outcomes. So keep that in mind. That's kind of a lot of where a lot of these 4 different things come out of. So if you want to go to the next slide. So we did another assessment. That same assessment about a couple weeks ago. There was 103 responses. It's completely anonymous. Somewhat of the same types of people that filled it out last time. And so how the scoring works, before I show you the next couple slides so you guys have a reference, here from a 1 to 5 scale. So 1 meaning whatever this that we're asking, there's no evidence of this in our facility. 2, there's limited evidence. 3, it's within pockets of the organization. 4, a large majority are doing it. And then 5, everyone's doing it, right? So that's kind of how the scale works. Keep that in mind. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so the first one, strategic alignment. So overall, that got a 3.4, which, if you remember that previous slide, that means it's within pockets of the organization, okay? And so what does strategic alignment mean? Well, it's the process of bringing the actions of an organization's business divisions, so we don't use divisions here, that's kind of like each of your own little work areas, right? How do we bring the actions of what you guys are doing as staff members into line with what the organization's objectives are? So this falls right into play, dovetailing off what Dr. Hall just talked about, right? Are the things that you guys are working on, do they matter, right? Or are we kind of off in la-la land and who cares at the end of the day, right? So I'm not going to go into each one of those. There's 5 different questions that went into that. You can kind of read them. It has to deal with how are we communicating our strategic plan, how are we developing our strategic plan, or do we have metrics aligned with that, so on and so forth, okay? And for the most part, I know it's kind of hard to see with lighting, but we scored in between 3 to 4 on each one of those levels. So again, still that consistent, only in pockets. So we have room to improve, right? Go to the next slide. Next one's organizational culture, 3.6 score. So pockets to, a large portion of people are doing it. So what does this mean? The values and behaviors that contribute to the unique social and psychological environment of an organization that affect productivity, performance, customer service, quality, and safety. So essentially, you've heard these things before. We evaluate, do we have a just culture? Are people being held accountable? Are we learning from our mistakes, right? So again, if you look at our scores, we're reporting that only pockets of people are doing this. That's not okay. We need to have everyone doing that, right? So we have room to improve. Let me go to the next slide. Innovation and improvement. So what is this process of transforming and changing processes that creates better value for our customers, or in our sense, our veterans, right? There's a lot to that. I'm sure if you know who I am and if you've been involved in our lean training program, you know what that entails. So I'm not going to go too much on improvement, but I was a little heartbroken when I saw we only scored 3.4 in terms of improvement. There's only improvement happening in pockets of our organization. I think we can see that with our GIMBA award criteria with the bronze, silver, and all that. So room to improve there, if you want to move on to the next one. And then the last one is called informed decision making. You kind of see a theme here. We're all scoring kind of right in the middle. So 3.3, what is this? So the thought process of selecting a data-based logical choice, not opinions, from available options. So essentially, are we using data to drive our business, not just saying, hey, I think this is what's important, go with my great idea, okay? Using data, not opinions. So are we using data? Are we responding to risks? Are we doing benchmarking? Benchmarking you're going to hear a lot of with the VA now. Now we are comparing ourselves to across the street even. That's what benchmarking is. How well are we doing even with other VAs? That's data-based, okay? So you want to go to the next slide. So there's a lot to unpack there, like I said. We're not going to have time to get into that, but we're creating action plans based upon what we've seen. So you're going to hear a lot more communicated down to you, especially at the GIMBA board level. All the black belts that round at your boards, that's going to be a big talking point for them. They're going to be talking about, hey, how does this project align to what we're trying to accomplish as the facility and the VA. The first goal for me would be, let's move out of pockets to the large majority. All right, let's figure out what pockets of people aren't doing this. And then I wanted to give you guys some challenging things. So what can you do? So I want you guys to go back and ask these questions. Are the things we're working on in our unit tied to the organization's goals? So if you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea what the goals are, I challenge you to go up to the Mission Control Board on the 6th floor. It's an open door for the most part. Go up there and read what's up there. There's goals up there. There's different categories. You can see what's going on. Take a trip up there. It meets at 9:30 on Wednesdays. I tend to say it's an open forum. Okay, anyone can go up there. I guess we wouldn't be able to handle this many people, so maybe go on, not at 9:30. The next one would be, are we referencing data to make decisions? Take a look at your GEMBA board huddles or your morning huddles or even your monthly kind of staff meeting. Is it just a bunch of opinions being thrown out, or are we actually saying, hey, let's go validate that with some numbers, right? And then the last one, when's the last time we asked our veterans what they, from their perspective, want to be improved with our services? A lot of times we get fixated on what we want to be improved to make our lives better, but we forget about who we're here for, right? So when's the last time you asked veterans who go through your area, hey, what do you want us to improve on? Okay, because that's what's going to keep them coming back. So anyway, I think that's it, unless anyone has questions.
I have a question. Do you
Yeah.
create the questions on that survey, or is that something that came from somewhere else?
Nope, this came from a National Systems Redesign office. And they stole, like I said, it's very Baldrige-y. I don't like to say Baldrige because that's a task that we're not on right now. You have to apply to have, Baldrige people will come here and assess these things. Whether you have any organization, you can win a Baldrige award. We're not on the Baldrige track right now that I know of, so. But they're based in research, so if you have those key 17 elements, that will show a strong culture that gets us to high reliability. Oh, yeah.
The recording,
I'm done.
I'm talking to the mic.
It's a validated tool
Yeah.
that was used. The language was interesting, wasn't it? Did you take it? Yeah. So it took me a while to learn the language. So anyway, thank you very much for doing that for us and kind of setting that stage. But we're going to have some information every time we have a town hall, a little bit more on where we are, what we're working on, alignment, things of that nature. So I really appreciate you providing that to us. Next slide. All right, let's talk about parking and facility construction. So, come on up. I'm like, where is he? I know he's in here somewhere.
All right, thank you. So yeah, a lot of construction, obviously. Can't hardly miss it. We'll start running through them, and we'll come to parking at the end because I have a feeling there might be a couple extra questions there. So, renovate, vacate ICU, and 6 surge. Those are the 6th floor. So those are done. A couple odds and ends things that we probably all see up there that still need to be done, but just showing that those are done. Expand ambulatory care. This is finishing out the dental clinic. That's getting close to being done. We've been waiting for a long time for some equipment to come in so we can finish that. So that has held that up, which has had some impacts on some of our other projects. But that's getting close. But I do have these asterisks here because for once we're actually going to move a project out on purpose. And we did get approved to add scope to this project. We got additional funding. So that's going to build additional specialty care exam rooms. So that's something that we originally wanted with this project, and now that we got approval, we can put that back into the project. So it's been a fight to get that, and we're very happy that we'll actually be able to get that because those will be some very needed exam rooms. The next one, energy saving project. Those are all the LEDs that you guys enjoy so much. Some love them, some hate them, but that's done. The garage and the elevator, the second garage, that's completed and ready for the parking garage. The next one, the parking garage, almost there. Less than 2 weeks before we'll be parking in there. And like I said, we'll come back to that. Upgrade facility systems, that's kind of a miscellaneous catch-all that we've done a lot. Replace mechanical, electrical, plumbing. That's also a lot of facility stuff. We're shutting off your power, we're doing all that, sorry. But this will help us out a lot in the future. It'll help us minimize the impacts that we have when we do have to shut off power in the future. So painful now, but good in the future. Expand pharmacy lobby. The lobby work is mostly there. Still a lot of work, little odds and ends. But the bump out is moving along well, and we're looking at the second floor, which will be the eye clinic, moving into a temporary phase shortly after the first of the year. And then the first floor pharmacy, probably more like March timeline, being able to open up that function on the first floor. So that'll be the outpatient pharmacy. Animal research, not exactly exciting project, but the research folks find it very important because we have been deficient in our HVAC down there forever. So this is good. Project's ready to start construction. CLC, that's been up there for a long time. It's been a painful process through contracting. We had bids last summer. They were very high. We confirmed the estimates and are getting approval to go back out full and open to hopefully get lower bids, similar to what we had to do with the garage. So it keeps pushing out there, but we are continuing to fight to get it. It is coming. We will get it. Relocate step down. That one is just any day should be awarded, but I've been hearing that for about 3 weeks. But the money, we're just waiting on the money to get transferred from central office on that. So that'll bring step down to the 3rd floor, right across from 3 surge. So that's a project we've been looking forward to. Renovate entrance vestibule. This gets rid of the revolving doors. Everybody doesn't like the revolving doors, so this is going to put a new vestibule there. You'll come in underneath the overhang and then turn to come into the main entrance. So the little bit of the lobby that you see up there that looks like it's unfinished, that's for a reason. We're going to do it under this. So the next one, just air handler, just have it up there. We're always replacing air handlers. Not exactly exciting projects, but important. So renovate 5th floor, that has kicked off. We're demoing right now the whole north side of the 5th floor. So 553 and 546, and all those spaces are no more. So this is actually a 3-phase project. The first phase will move LO to the north side of the floor, and then we'll come back and build some office space, and then also some conference space on the south side, and then we'll finish the middle off as the third phase, and that'll be more office space. So renovate vacated dental. This is a project, like I said, it's been held up by the delay to the ACA dental equipment. So we're working to get part of that started as soon as possible to minimize the delay on that. But what will be going there is voluntary services and the service officers. Renovate basement lounge locker room. So this has been designed and ready to go. We should have funding now where we stand, so we should be able to move this forward this year. So this will replace the existing 1968 locker room with a modern locker room and a cardio gym and a lounge. So it'll be a nice change. The next one actually should have been in construction. I don't know how I left it there, but construct basement pharmacy deficiencies. This took care of our USP 800 compliance on the second floor of the chemo prep area. So we completed that, and we're looking good for USP 800 compliance. That's a big push, not just with us or the Division, but all healthcare pharmacies. So done with that, and the other piece of it is it's building on-call rooms in the basement that will be relocated from the third floor, and then also some office space for pharmacy and HAS down the basement. So projects in design, renovate behavioral health, that's moving forward. We're on schedule to have construction late this year, or FY20. I'm not sure that we'll be able to free up enough space on the second floor to actually start, just because of how full it is right now. So we'll work through those issues. Correct life safety, that's just a miscellaneous, fixing lots of issues throughout the hospital. Expand primary care. So this project we've started design, and we hit a roadblock with a AE firm. We're trying to add on to the scope of what is in this project to actually make it a 3-story addition on the northwest corner of the ambulatory care. And so we're working through that to get that added back into the project and get it moving again. Renovate Research A, that's design's about done. Just waiting for funding. We're hoping that central office research will have some funding for us on that. Replace roofs 1 and 23. What we're doing with this project is the skylight that you see in the main lobby, or it's actually called a cow wall. We're replacing that with the actual skylight, so that you'll actually be able to see the sky from the lobby and get some natural light in there. So that's what we're doing there. All right, now to the topic I'm sure everybody wants to talk about. So parking garage. We are opening up the parking garage December 4th. That'll be all employees parking in Reactor. We'll park in the third and fourth floors of the parking garage. So starting tomorrow, you'll be able to pick up hang tags. You'll have to have a new hang tag and have your PIV badge updated. So you'll be able to go to the police station and pick that up. And then on the 3rd, we'll have it open for people to take tours through, familiarize themselves with the garage, and figure out what they're going to do the next day. And then on the 4th, we'll open up, and you can see the arrow coming in off of Monk Drive. So you'll turn onto Monk Drive and immediately turn right into the parking garage. Proceed to the stop sign that's in the garage, and then turn left to go up the ramp. And I guess I should have a laser pointer. You'll proceed around to the second floor, where you'll go through a gate, and that'll be open, and the police will monitor that during the morning rush. So, and then exiting, we've shown the path that exits The south exit, we are changing Service Drive exit to a right turn only. So that is to reduce the backups that we see when people try to turn left there. So if you do want to turn left, you can exit the garage and go to the left off of Flag Avenue. So then the other big piece with the garage that we have coming out too is the staff, or excuse me, the patient and visitor shuttle. So we're starting a shuttle service to pick up patients and visitors on the first and second level. So that's the only place that patients are allowed to park, and that'll be taking them back to the main entrance and dropping them off, and then picking them up at the main entrance and dropping them off at stop points within the garage. So, and that'll be starting on the 4th as well. And this is with working towards phasing out valet. So we are going to be picking up that workload and trying to replace that function. So with that, I'm sure y'all have lots of questions. Yes, Monica?
So just curious if, does it numbers match? Like, we're gonna have spots available, like everyone will have spots?
There's well more than what we have. So
Okay, that's what-
eventually Lot C will move into the garage as well. Without Lot C, we have over 200 extra spaces in the
So we
employee
won't
side.
have to fight for a spot?
No. There will be spots that will be marked off for government vehicles and stuff like that, but other than that, it's all open, first come, first serve, and there's plenty of parking spots. Yes,
Where
John?
will the government vehicles be?
So the government vehicles will be, as you go through the gate from the second floor, it'll be out on immediately past that. And the reason that is we don't want people slowing up traffic trying to park right there where everybody's trying to come through the gate. So, yes, Nancy.
As a Lot D parker, I'm really concerned about the extra traffic that's gonna come through there. Already, I mean, it takes me 10 minutes just from Stadium to get to
So,
Lot D.
so the Lot D gate will be left open as well. So,
Could you repeat the question when they asked me the audio?
question about Lot D and the traffic there. So the gate will be left open during the morning rush, like I said, and that should ease the.
Are there any plans to add another entryway to Lot D in case, because I can only.
There is no way to add another one. I've actually been in contact with MoDOT. It is a restricted access highway, so getting that, I'll give you one example. MOI, if you look at their entrance, the reason that's so goofy is because university couldn't get it done. So we also have been talking with them about some other options, maybe of some changes we can do to Monk Drive to help. But that's a long way from being able to do something there. But you do have to remember we have had the same number of cars. We used to park on the opposite side. So Monk Drive has handled that traffic before. So yes, Heather?
Mr. Brown, is this only for those who are parked in reactor, correct? So nobody from Lot D should be parking in the parking lot
Correct.
at this time?
Only staff that are parking in reactor are parking in the garage. Every staff member that's parking in reactor is parking in the garage. So thank you for that question.
Can you talk a little bit more about the stop points in the garage? Because I know we have a lot of patients that utilize the wheelchairs right at the front door with valet currently. I know that there are stops along the way, but is it going to, I mean, is there a plan to account for those patients who utilize those wheelchairs right at the front door?
So yes, the patients will always be able to be dropped off at the front door. So they can drop off and whoever's with them can park. We have discussed what happens if somebody is driving themselves and can't get out, and we discussed sending them to the emergency department, and they will have the lift team meet them there, and also trying to set those type of folks up with a arrival plan, if you will, so that they can set up something before they come. But Circle Drive will always be there. They can come there. Voluntary Services will be manning the shuttle points, and they can notify people that can help with those folks.
And then we have a plan to deal with those cars.
With the
that
cars,
will be entering at the emergency department.
we do. There is plans that police can get a signature from the person and can go park the cars. Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a plan for exiting the lots? Because I know that the garage exit looks like it's ahead of Lot D exit. And so how to merge into that and get everybody out of both Lot D and the garage without people being stuck waiting for a long time?
Yes. I mean, it is going to be a back and forth. You're going to have one person leave, one person leave.
So we're gonna have it clearly marked that people will take turns and like, no, you gotta play nice. Well,
Yeah.
I
Zip or merge. We all know how well that works on 63. The police will be out there. They will help direct traffic. So, yes, Mike.
What's the height limit in there?
I don't have it off the top of my head. I believe it's 8'4", 8'2" or 8'4". We have bars across there that you'll hit the bar before you hit anything. Yes,
Where are
Karen.
you putting patients who come with vehicles that are taller than that? Are you,
So the 8'4" is what is the lowest point in the garage. The entire first floor is actually almost 13 feet. So short of a semi truck, they'll be okay. Which we do have those show up every now and again, and they will still park in D if they do. Yes, Lori.
Mine's actually not about the garage, so I'm bailing you out.
Thank you.
So third floor with the step-down unit. For those folks that are still on that floor, when should we expect to be relocated?
We are working through that diligently. So we have a couple more moves that we need to lock in, and it's going to be pretty quick. In the next month is what we're pushing for. So relocating the rest of the staff off of 3 in that footprint. Yes, Johnny.
I was gonna say, for long term, what's the transition plan like? Am I permanently in reactor till the dawn of time, or not reactor? I'm sorry, the garage, or how does that get updated?
It's going to be that for a while. So once we get Lot C moved in and the dust settles from all that, then maybe we can look at if people want somewhere else. But that's right now. It's if you're in reactor, you're going to the garage.
What
Yes.
about handicap parking, where do you have that?
Handicap parking. So actually, the first floor, all along the north wall, we're adding it everywhere. The first floor, that will all become handicap parking for patients. Then on each floor, you can see handicap parking near the elevators. So that will be handicap for employees. Yes, Justin.
Are they gonna be, I'm taking this back to my old position when we
What?
had issues. For your crash carts in the event that you have issues out in the parking garage, your gurneys that don't fit on your elevators, if your elevators aren't working, are they wheeling those down the parking garage or?
So
taking
crash
them
carts are
outside?
we already have that. That process is the ones in patient ed. You bring it, you take it out. Gurneys, we have gurneys that will fit on the elevators. We have 2 elevators now. So both elevators fail, I guess you start pushing. Yes, Teresa. Auditorium, yes it is. That's with the step down project. So thank you. I should have covered that. The auditorium is being remodeled under the step down project. No, it doesn't sound quite right, but we're remodeling this space. Actually, above the ceiling is a whole nother floor that's open. So we're recapturing that space by putting a new floor in above the ceiling. So we will have the auditorium down for about 5 months. Right now, if we get the step down awarded next couple weeks, it'll probably be late April timeframe. that we'll have to take it offline. All right, anything else? All right.
All right, thank you very much. Next slide. Real quickly, Heather, would you like to come up and talk about any community engagement updates that you may have?
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's easy. Okay. Can you next? So, how many of you know about our 7% campaign? Man, I was hoping every hand would go up. Okay. For those of you that don't know, we started a new campaign this year. Basically, what we're saying is 7% of the U.S. population has served in the military, and we want to thank them for that. So we've handed out quite a few pins already. We began this in November 1st, and we've handed out to 45 different employees 650 pins. So that's not to say the ones that we handed out at Applebee's or other occasions, but we're very excited about this. What it does is it helps us track when you're out in the community and you see somebody with a 7% pin, you can go up to them and say, hey, thank you for being one of the 7%. For those of you who haven't requested pins, I really strongly suggest you get on Leaf. I know how much we all love Leaf, but if you get on Leaf, there are actually 2 different forms. The first form is a request for pins. You can get them in increments of 5 up until 20 pins. I'll send them to you. You can take those, hand them out to family and friends who are veterans. If you're out shopping, you can give them to your, just say, hey, we want to thank you for your service. Do you know about VA healthcare? On the cards, they have a number they can call to get enrolled if not. And then the second is a follow-up. So if you do get their name and number, say, hey, you know, are you interested in getting signed up for care? They say, yeah, sure, here's my name and number. You can come back and put that in there so we can call them to get them enrolled. So that's the 7% pin. Okay, and then this one is probably my favorite because it took a long time to work it on. But we just signed the partnership and have the grand opening for the new Veterans Urban Farm. For those of you who have never been to the Columbia Center for Urban Agriculture, they're located off of Fay and Smith Street off of College, and they occupy 1.3 acres of turnkey ready veteran urban farm. So we're going to be starting that in early spring. They are looking for a veteran farm manager at this point. So if you know of a veteran who is interested in agriculture, and also a veteran, that is key, they can go onto the CCUA website and apply. But otherwise, as far as community engagement goes, we really want our employees to get involved in this. So there are going to be notifications coming out for people to come and volunteer. This is an incredibly friendly event for families. So if you've ever thought, oh man, I really want to bring my child, or my grown-up teenagers need to drag them out from their bedrooms, this would be a perfect opportunity to do that. So if any of you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to talk to you about that at any time. So, and the only other thing I could think of is the Christmas party. So that's coming up on the 19th, and we highly suggest that you all come and attend.
Thank you, Heather. So I think that ends our agenda. Any questions for me or anything you heard, any other thing, any good gossip? Yes?
The budget, are we under continuing resolution with, for the VA? I don't know about the budget. Is it signed, and when is it signed into?
I don't think it's been officially, do I see my budget people in here? Oh, there you are.
I can't tell you specific. I know the current CR is, I don't know.
The current CR, I believe, I was trying to remember what I saw in the news, expires this week sometime, but they were confident that they would issue another a short-term CR that the president would sign. But the VA has a 2-year, it has an advanced appropriation, so we have received our funding for this fiscal year. However, the president's budget does have some additional Mission Care Act funding, as well as some medical support and compliance funding, but that will not impact our local funding at this time. But we're conducting business as usual right now.
Great question. Thank you. Any other questions? Rumors, stories, gossip, any of those things? Well, I surely appreciate all of you attending. I hope that you found this information value added, and we are going to try our very best to have this available for anybody to watch. So if you know of somebody who sits to the right or left of you at work that couldn't come for some reason, which there's lots of reasons, like we've got veterans that need care during this time frame, encourage them to watch whatever parts they would find informative as well. Thanks.